Dav Kuf Yud Ches Amud Aleph. We'll begin Dav Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Beis, the Mishnah at the bottom of the Amud. So the Mishnah, Mosgolog Shlishi, they poured for him the third cup of wine, Mevorach al Mezayin. And he says, on with this kais, he benches, he says the brocha al kais with the third wine. Then Ravi, they poured the fourth cup of wine, Garmalav is a hollow. And on the fourth cup, he finishes the hollow. First part of the hollow was said before the Suda, then he finishes it off now at this point. And he says on it the bracha of the shir, we'll see, the Gemara will discuss exactly what that is. Between these cups, if he wants to drink between them, he can. But between the third cup and the fourth cup, he should not drink. The Rashbam brings on the Yishalmi that says between the third and fourth cup, he should not drink because if he'll drink that much, then it might lead to shichrus. What about between the second and the third cup? There it says since it's during the Suda, we're not concerned about it because the likelihood of shichrus during the Suda when he's eating is less. There seems to be a machlokes what it means between bein hakaisos halalu. And it certainly means between the second and the third cup, but does it mean also between the first and the second cup? So that is a discussion and the diyukim in the Rishonim, but perhaps it relates also to this point of the Yerushalmi, because those who say between the first and second cup that he can't drink, perhaps because over there it's also a shaila of shichrus because it's before the Suda and he's not eating, so therefore that reason would apply, or perhaps not. Zok the Gemara, Amalei Rav Chanan l'Rava, he said, Shema Mina Berach Zamazon Tunikais. Well, we have this third cup, which is the Brach Halakais of benching, so that's a raya, isn't this a raya that benching requires a kais? Amalei said, no, Rava said to Rav Chanan, no, it's not a raya. Arakasi Tikna Rabbanon Derech Cheres. There's a takana of Dalit Kaises. The Rabbanon Masakin that there should be Dalit Kaises on Seder night. And Kol Chad V'Chad Navad Bei Mitzvah. The reason why we have to have this cup is because there's Dalit Kaises. But the Rabbanon Masakin that each one of these cups should be connected to a mitzvah. So therefore, the third cup is done by Berach Hamazon. But in any event, there would be a chiyuv of the third cup because there's a chiyuv of Dalit Kaises. It's not a raya that it's benching that requires a kais, but since we have to make a bracha, we need the third cup, they connected it to the mitzvah of benching. Revi on the fourth cup, Goimer, Allah is a hollow. He completes the hollow on this cup. And he says the Berach Zashir. My Berach Zashir. Rabbi Yehuda Omar, he says, Yaluch Hashem Elokeinu. It's the what we say at the end of Hallel, the bracha at the end of Hallel is Yaluch Hashem Elokeinu, and then we conclude that Melech Mu'ulal Batish Bochais. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Nishmas Kol Chai. But Rabbi Yochanan says no, it's Nishmas. It's Nishmas. He says it's Nishmas because in the way the Rashbam explains it, that it wouldn't be telling us the bracha of that Melech Mu'ulal Batish Bochais. It wouldn't be telling me that it's Yalucha because we always say that at the end of Hallel. So therefore, it must be saying something else. It must be saying something different. So therefore, it's saying that it's nishmas. So Jesus explains, and the Rabbi Yehuda says that it's yalucha. So what's the chiddush? We always say that at the end of Hallel. It's teaching us, and even in a place where they're not like to say the bracha, but by Seder night you say it. Or alternative, he's saying that even in a place where they are knowing to say this bracha at the end of Hallel, but normally it's said in the daytime, it's not said in the night. You might think here that the Hallel is being said at nighttime, that you would not have this bracha, Kamash Malan, even here that it's at night, you say the bracha. So Rav Yochanan says that it's Nishmas. The way Taisus explains is in the first Mahalach, he says it means also Nishmas. Because if it's only nishmas, then how would we be holding? We say we do both. So it must be that Rav Yochanan said that it's also nishmas. We say that as well. So why is nishmas called Berach Zashir? So because he says, Taisus explains, because generally speaking, on regular Shabbos, we say this after Psukei de Simra, which is a shir, which is a beautiful shir. We say this at the end, so it's called Birchas Shir. However, he does bring down that the sheet of Reb Chaim Kayin, who says that Rabbi Yechon holds that only Nishmas and not the Yahalocha. Tan Rabon on Revi'ah Gomer Lavas Halal on the fourth Barakais, you complete the Halal of Omer Alav Halal Gadol. And you say, then Halal HaGadol, the Reb Tarfon. V'yeshem Hashem Roi Le'echzer, and some say it's not Halal HaGadol. What you say at this juncture is Hashem Roi Le'echzer. So the way Rashbam explains it is because we have completed the meal, we're not lacking anything. We praise Hashem for not lacking anything. Mehechen Halal Gadol, from where does Halal Gadol begin? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, he says, Mehaidu ad Naharas Bavel. It's from Haidu until, but not including Naharas Bavel. It's until the end of the Kilo Adam Chazai, till Naharas Bavel, not including Naharas Bavel. V'yaychan and Omar, Misher Amalas ad Naharas Bavel. V'ravach bar Yaakov Amar, Miyakov Bachar Loiko, you attach to connect this pasuk ad Naharas Bavel until but not including Naharas Bavel. V'lama nikra shmo Halal HaGadol, why is this called Halal HaGadol? Amar Rav Yochanan, Mipnei Shakadosh Baruch Hu Yoshev b'meruba shel olam, because the Rebbeinu Shalom is sitting and dwells in the heights of the war of the universe, umachalik mezainas l'chol beria, and he gives food. He's machalik, distributes food to all of the creatures. So it's called Halal HaGadol. Over here, it says nice and lechem l'chol basar kilo olam chastain. So this is the great praise to Hashem that He sustains the world. Amar Shua ben Levi, Hani Esrim Vishisha Hoidu Keneged Mi. We say Hoidu Hashem Ki Toiv. So it's Keneged corresponding to what? There's 26 Hoidus. Keneged Esrim Vishisha Derish Baruch Kodesh Baruch Hu. It corresponds to the 26 generations that the Kodesh Baruch Hu created the world before giving the Torah V'Leinos Lam Torah. So they were there, they're in existence, these 26 generations, without the Torah. So how are they sustained? They didn't have the merit of supposed to the Torah, so how are they sustained? With the chesed of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Amar Rav Chisda, Ma'idich Siv, Hoidel Hashem Ki Toiv. What does it mean when we say Hoidel Hashem Ki Toiv? What's the specific reference of the Toiv? Hoidel Hashem Shegoy V'chayvos Shel Anam V'Toiv also. That we give thanks to Hashem that He takes punishment from Hashem, that He repays the debt that the person owes Him for his averas. He takes it from the goodness that He has, from His material goods, but not from His person, not from punishing Him personally. Asher b'shayrei, a wealthy person, he takes from his wealth. He takes a wealthy person, for example, he takes his ox. Vesani b'seyah, a person who's not that wealthy, he has less wealth. He removes his wealth, his lamb. Yosam b'beitzasa, an orphan, his egg. Almona b'tarnagolta, her hen. So each one according to whatever material sustenance he has, but they don't. Hashem does b'chazda, takes from the wealth without punishing the person personally. Amar Rav Yochanan Kashim. So we're talking about the Haidu Hashem Ki Toiv Kilam Chazda. Hashem is nice and lechem l'chol basar. He sustains us. Amar Rav Yochanan Kashim is a nice shalom kiflaim keyoyleida. It's more difficult twice as difficult as childbirth. The ilabeiled ksiv be'etzet. It says it be'etzev with suffering. By b'mezayna says ksiv be'it savain. It says it with a double lashon. With through suffering, you'll eat your bread. That is what was mentioned to Va'amar Rosheshis Mishum Rilaz Ben Azariah Kol Mavaza Es Hamo'adais. Any person who disgraces the Chol Hamoed, he does malacha on Chol Hamoed, he works on it. Kilo Avidu Zara. It's like his Avidu Zara. Shen Emar, it says Yomi Masechet Pesachim. You should not make Avidu Zara, molten Avodah Zorah, Ksibasrei, and it says after that Smicha says Chagamatzos Tishma. So we darshan the Smicha is the connection that if you're not shomer chas v'shalom chag hamatzos, it's like Yomi Masechet. Anyone who speaks lashon hara, or he accepts it, or he is made, he testifies falsely against his friend, he's fit to be thrown to the dogs. It says lagabi treifa that you throw it to the dogs, but it says throw it to the dogs. And after it's written, it says so we darshan it both ways. We darshan it both ways is that if you accept a report that's not true, or you cause a report to be accepted which is not true, so therefore it means both by accepting lashon hara, speaking lashon hara, or an untrue or false edus. So it's connected. L'kalav tashlichon is roy to throw to the dog. Practicing more, coming back to the halal of halal, what we say, this halal agar, which is the great halal. So anan my time amrin and my anan my time amrin high. So why do we say the regular, the standard halal? Why don't we say there is a halal agadol? Why not say regularly the halal agadol? And why do we say the standard halal? Because it has these 5 great attributes. Yetzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamsu, Tchias HaMesim, Matan Torah. It has Matan Torah, Tchias HaMesim, V'Chevla Shel Mashiach. It has these 5 great attributes. The Gemara explains. Yetzias Mitzrayim, where do we see that? T'chsiv b'tzeis Yisrael mitzrayim. Ukriyas Yamsuf, because it says D'chsiv Hayom Ra v'Anais. It says the sea saw and it ran away, it fled. So that means the Kriya of the Yamsuf, the splitting of Matan Torah, because D'chsiv Haraktu Ke'elim. It says that the mountains dance like Elam, like rams. That's referring to the time when Torah was given on Har Sinai. Tchias HaMesim, because it says D'chsiv Es Halach L'vnei Hashem, I'll walk before Hashem in Be'eretz HaChaim. In Be'eretz HaChaim means in those who live forever. Tchias HaMesim. Chevla Shel Mashiach, it means the suffering of the time before Mashiach comes. D'chsiv Lo Ilanu Hashem Lo Ilanu, save us for this, not for our sake, but for your sake, Hashem. Vam Rav Yochanan Lo Ilanu Hashem Lo Ilanu is the Shibud Malchus. Rav Yochanan says, what's it referring to? The Shibud Malchus, the suffering of the subjugation from the different kingdoms. This is first the suffering of the Gog and Magog, the Melchama of the king of Gog with a nation of Magog that will come with the war before Mashiach comes. Rav Nachman ben Yitzchak Omer says, because it is a reference to the salvation, the saving, the escape of the nefashos of tzaddikim from Gehenna. Shenamra on Hashem malta nafshi. It says, please Hashem, save my nafshi, my soul. Chizkiyahu Omer, he says, because it has a reference to the great nays of the tzaddikim were thrown into Kivshan Eish, and their salvation from it, and their ascent from it. Yiridos on D'chsiv, it says, Lonu Hashem Loi Lonu Amar Chananya. This was said by Chananya. So this is a reference to when Nebuchadnezzar threw Hananiah, Mishael, Azar into the Kivshanes, into the furnace, and they were saved. So not for our sake, but for your sake, Hashem. That was said by Hananiah. Kilishim Chatein Kavod Amar Mishah Al Chazcha V'Al Mitecha Amar Azariah. For your kindness and your amnesty, your truth, Azariah said it. Lama Yomer Hagayim Amar Kul. Why should the nation say, where is Hashem? They said it, the 3 of them said it. So it has a reference to the throwing into the Kivshaneis, Aliyosam Kivshaneis, and the redemption, the salvation, the ascent from the Kivshaneis, T'chsiv, Halu Hashem Kol Goyim, Amar Chananya. That praise Hashem all the nations. Chananya said, Shabchu Kol Ha'umim, Amar Mishah. Ki Gover Aleinu Chazdai, for your kindness has overwhelmed us, Amar Azariah. And some say Ve'emes Hashem Lo'ilam Gavriel Amar. That was said by Gavriel a malach. So what's pshat over here? What was Gabriel? What was he in this mice over here? Because Bishosh people Nimrod Arashas Avram Avinu side Kivshaneish much earlier when Nimrod had the Rasha threw Avram Avinu to the Kivshaneish. Amar Gabriel, if Kodesh Baruch Hu, Gabriel said before Hashem, Ribono Shel Olam, let me go and give me permission to go into the furnace to cool it down and save this tzaddik Avram Avinu from the fire. Amar lo Kodesh Baruch Hu, he said to him, "No, ani yachid bo elami v'hu yachid bo elamoi. I'm alone in my world. I'm a yachid, unique in my world. I'm the only one in my world the only being, the only kayach. And he is a yachid. He's the only one in the entire Olam Hazeh. He's unique, that he's a mammon. So Noah and the yachid lahatzal the yachid. It's fitting for the yachid, the one who is unique, to say the one who's unique. But since Kadosh Baruch Hu does not want to withhold the reward for any of his creations, Omar let the Gabriel the Malach be Zaycha to save these three descendants of Avram Avinu. And that's why when it says in the Nu'u over there, in the Nevuah, by Daniel, it says there was a fourth man. Now it was only Chanai, Mishael, Valzari. The fourth man was really the Malach Gabriel, and the Malach Gabriel was there. He cooled down the furnace for them, and he saved them.